You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wood.
And I'm Jennifer Connor.
I'm equestrian businesswoman, and you're listening to Equestrian B2B, the podcast that brings together industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and equestrians for conversations about how they build and sustain a successful business.
On today's show, we speak with Rebecca Haddock about equine functional taping, how she became an expert in her field, and how her business structure has evolved.
Rebecca Haddock is an author, educator, and innovator in equine kinesiology taping, with more than 30 years of hands-on experience in the horse industry. She is the owner and president of Equitape Inc. Holding, a certified EEKT and EEBT practitioner, and the author of Stick with Success, Equine Kinesiology Taping Made Simple.
Rebecca is known for blending science-based expertise with ranch-tested wisdom and humor, making her teaching both practical and engaging. Her work has transformed equine wellness education from developing the first scientifically researched equine kinesiology tape to creating innovative training programs now used in more than 26 countries. Hi friends, Connor here. I wanted to take a quick minute to tell you about my new endeavor. My partner Chelsea and I have developed the first peer-to-peer equestrian clothing rental marketplace. Think Airbnb for those unused clothes sitting in your closet. It's simple. You're going to rent, ride, and return. We're excited to connect equestrian closets across the country, helping to make equestrian fashion more affordable, accessible, and sustainable. So start cleaning out those closets and make some extra horse money. Check out ridersrent.com.
Hi, Rebecca. It's great to have you join us today. We're excited to talk to you about what you do and all the different aspects of your company and your job. So thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thanks to be here. Exciting, Jen and Jen. Always fun. Definitely not going to mix that up at all throughout this process.
Right. So just to start out, can you tell us about your background in the equine industry?
Sure. I, like many of us, got the bug when I was itty bitty. So been around horses my whole life. And I think it was the smell. Like it's an intoxicant, right? There's got to be like some kind of addictive measure that's in the smell, and it rewrites brain cells, and your chemistry just gets all screwed up from the start. So if you don't want your kids to fall in love with horses, don't let them smell their fur. Like, just stay away. It's like heroin or something, right? It's straight to the vein. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I go outside and put my head in my horse's coat anywhere, just like, and in the ears too. Oh, anyways, okay. So got the bug super young, and just kind of, I don't know. I've always been a dreamer, and I grew up in a very difficult environment. And I talk about this a bit in my book. I really believe that it's the horse that saved me. And so now I try and do everything I can to save horses. I started working with horses in a professional level in my teenage years. I was working with different trainers, and then I was like, I really like the babies, so I'm going to focus on colt starting. Became a phenomenal colt starter. I used to start for some of the best reining trainers in the world, and cow horse, cutting horse, that kind of stuff. And then people started bringing me problem horses, because that's the same. Yeah, not at all. But they're like, but you could do colts, so like problem horses should be easy, right? And I think a lot of us were coming around to the idea, you've got like Warwick and like Clinton Anderson and Fox and like Pirelli and all these guys that we're all coming around to the same understanding of like, there's so many different psychological things that go along with working with horses. And then there's physiological things that go along with working with horses, like how the horse's body is dealing with things and their inability to tell us, ouch, that hurts or whatever, right? And so like a lot of stuff was developing, and we see that like with intelligence, if you like map society back to ancient days, like you'll have almost like an explosion of intelligence happen in pockets, right? And so that kind of started happening in the equine industry. And then you started to see a bit of a surge in what we label holistic healthcare, right? But it's like super old. Like, let's just be honest. Holistic healthcare just means that we're doing something. Well, it depends on the definition, right? A lot of people define holistic healthcare as like a spiritual element first, but it really does trace all the way back into the ancient time of healing through nature, right? So you see this surge of holistic healthcare, but like, why did it happen? I think that, I'm the person who always asks why. You guys will figure that out pretty quickly. Why is more important to me? The question is always more important than the answer. So just kind of why did that happen? I think that it was that surge in intelligence of being able to start to link certain things together that before maybe we weren't asking the right questions, but we all of a sudden started asking the right questions. Like, does my energy field actually impact the horse's energy field? So if I walk into the barn and I'm really pissed off and like, does that actually affect my herd? It does. Oh, now that starts to make sense. Like, if I ask a horse permission, people think, people thought Warwick was crazy when he started saying this. If you ask a horse permission, like, do you actually get further with them? It turns out you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on. So anyway, so here I was starting colts, working with problem horses, and I'm like, all these problem horses have pain, and I have to fix the pain before I can fix the problem. And then I'd fix the pain, and the problem was gone. And then I was like, well, once I see a problem, I can't unsee it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like you move a piece of furniture and there's a bunch of dust behind it. You can't unsee the dust.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, well, now I got a bigger issue I got to deal with. And so I just started educating myself in how to help horses. I mean, that was the big, broad picture at the beginning. How can I physically, physiologically help horses? I've always been drawn to the STEM fields. I have a very high IQ. And so my brain thinks very differently. And I look at everything as a problem that can be solved if I ask the right question, right? So I've always been in that aspect. And yeah, so I started teaching myself and then I started getting some more formal education. Next thing you know, I had all these different certifications and I was leading a company called Equitape and figuring out how to help horses with paralysis and, you know, issues that we didn't even consider trying to help with, like scoliosis. Like horses are generally put down right away at birth with scoliosis, especially if it's at a certain level. And I saw that and I was like, I can fix that. And so now I've been on this crazy drive to fix it. But then through each thing that I do, I want to prove it. I have to ask why, and then I need to see it through. So then I started doing a lot of research, and that led me into Equitex, Equine Technologies Institute, which is now what I run. So I have touched on almost every part of the equine industry at one level or another, and that's where I am today.
Yeah. I think I love the point that you brought up about kind of the change in the industry and people starting to recognize, like you said, you get more out of horses when you're thinking like them, you're understanding them better rather than just forcing them to do what you think they should do. I think the emotional intelligence of people, they've got to have that and recognize that they've got to do some work themselves in order to get more out of horses.
Yeah, one of the things I talk about in my certification course is history of, right? So I'm a huge person of history. If you know where a thing came from, if you understand the process of which whatever it is, maybe it's a country, the root cause of a particular war, the invention of the engine, like whatever it is, if you dig all the way back through history, there's so much that you can learn. And the intelligence of somebody, a lot of people get this mixed up. So I love to point it out. Just because you have an IQ doesn't mean you're smarter.
Yeah.
It just means you can process information faster. We're all computers, and your space capability has nothing to do with your IQ. It's just how fast you process it, right? So when we look back through history, like the difference of understanding and not repeating has more to do with your space capability and your wisdom, your ability to learn from
Mm.
without having to redo,
Yeah.
right? And so for
And
me, I want to learn as much as I can from the past so I don't have to redo it because I really have these big, hairy, audacious goals that I want to achieve in my very short lifespan. In order to do that, I don't have time to make a whole bunch of mistakes that were already made, right? So I read a lot, I research a lot for that specific reason, like trying to grasp some of that. Why is the horse healing to me? Why am I healing to the horse? How do I reproduce this so that you, either one of you, Jen or Jen, can do the same thing and have the same outcome each and every time? And that's what birthed Equine Functional Taping.
Mm.
It was the culmination of all of my years of work, training, colt starting, problem horses, problem people, injuries, rehabilitation, deformities, dysfunctions, people in general, the psychology that they bring into it, the psychology the horse brings into it, all of those pieces to culminate into, well, there's not one magical thing, but how can I educate you the best I possibly can so that your journey is as freaking cool as my journey was, right?
yeah. And what was it specifically about kinesiology and the taping that piqued your interest?
Oh, so many cool things. Number one, its ability. If we want to say holistic, so let's jump back into holistic, right? If I want to say holistic modality, because it's a super huge marketing phrase that everybody wants to use now, right? Like you just gotta love it. When something cool works, man, everybody's gonna jump on it. Interesting right now in marketing is people who are not even in the equestrian world are realizing that marketing with a horse next to you, like you sell more. So now all these non-equine people are trying to market with a horse next to them. I'm like, that's not gonna last long. Wait till someone gets bit or kicked, then it'll be gone. It'll be like not worth it, right? But okay, so holistic as a label, I think like, a lot of equestrian people tend to look right through that and just like throw it away. Why? Well, because it's been overused and we're real people and we understand truth and reality, right? So, uh, you know, holistic generally means that we're going to interfere with the horse as little as possible to get the max outcome, the max result, right? So, I would rather a holistic approach to say joint injuries, inflammation, arthritis, breaking down of the joint, any of that. A holistic approach would not be an injection, right?
Mhm.
A holistic approach is as little as possible to get the max result. Well, y'all, I'm a real human. Like, I've been so broke that I lived off ramen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so financial was always a concern to me. In all of my walk of life, I have always had to deal with the financial. And utilizing this stretchy piece of tape is the most cost effective way for me to help horses.
Mhm.
Okay. So it ticked that box. And I wanted to be able to deliver that same kind of thing to the broke show moms who are choosing to forego every part of their life of what they need to put their kid on a horse and let them go into a show arena,
Right.
right? I wanted to help the farmers and ranchers who depend on their horses every day to make money to put food on their table. I wanted to give people in a different country that they still depend on that horse to live
Right.
the opportunity to help their horse. How can I do it? Well, number one, I had to make it cost effective. So the modality, the approach, and see, I was working in kinesiology tape in the same time everybody was developing it, right? Back in 2010, 2011. I was also playing with the same idea. We just kind of grouped together, split apart, and then grouped back together and then split back apart for a lot of different reasons. But for me, the cost effective was huge. Number two, that little interaction, little interference, massive outcome. There's not a modality in the world, not one, not any laser, not any sound wave, not any magnet wave, not a vet, not a chiropractor, not a body worker that can get the outcome that the kinesiology tape or functional tape or biomechanics tape can get from a horse. Not one, not even close, not even close. 4 weeks of taping your horse's joint will do more than every single pharmaceutical and supplement out today, guaranteed. I've already proven it in clinical study. Right? So I'm talking a $13 roll of tape that if you learn how to do it right, you'll only need about 2, maybe 3 applications for 4 weeks to see a massive difference in your horse's joints. Right? So 2, box checked. As little interference as possible, as big outcome as possible, right? So for me, it had to do with those actual everyday, real life, sorry, my language, shit we go through and needing a solution that works. It works every time. It's available. You can get the education. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a vet. You don't have to be a chiropractor. You don't have to be a body worker. You can get the education. You can learn yourself. You can affect your horse in a significant way. And it doesn't have negative side effects. Like we've never had proven case where stretchy piece of tape, whether a two-way tape, whatever you want to call it, functional tape is what I call it for a reason, because it's functional. And I kind of started pitching out why do we call it kinesiology tape? Well, Dr. Kenzo Case created the kinesiology taping modality and he called it kinesiology tape to go along with this modality. This is the same way that plumber's tape is called plumber's tape when really, it's a silicone piece of very thin material. And why don't we just call it that? It's marketing, y'all. It's just marketing. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. I'm going to be transparent because it's a stretchy piece of tape. So many different boxes were checked in the capabilities of what it could do and the physiological outcomes of what it could do. I love the psychological aspect of it. I can do something to my horse that cause absolutely no pain and give them that parasympathetic response, instant pain relief, and actually heal them. And so they come to you much better. The bond is stronger. You're not forcing them to stand in a weird place. You're not introducing these machines that make noises. We're not causing an interference with their natural electrical systems. I mean, their neurologic systems is crazy, y'all, because they're prey animals, right? So we're talking as little interference as possible. That's why I honed in there. It was also one of the least researched modalities, and it had the most potential. And so I've spent my entire tenure of this part of my career in development, right? And continuing the process forward and treating things other people won't.
Yeah. Researching. You do a lot of research.
Yeah. So at this point in time, I have enough credentials to be a vet, but I choose to stay on the research side of everything. Right. So I don't actually work on horses myself, but I do have a facility where I research. So animals come in, I use what I'm doing, I research, gather as much data as I can. Then I release it out into practitioner level. So equine healthcare professionals, they start utilizing my technique on these similar cases and send me case studies. After a certain period of time of building case studies, seeing the ins and out, then I can go to clinical research. At that point in time, then it starts to build more and more.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a process, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of vets kind of look to you as the expert in this field then, would you say?
So I am technically the expert in equine taping of any level. So kinesiology, biomechanics. So I am the expert in the world. Interesting, the day that somebody sent me a screenshot from Google ChatGPT, and they asked, was asking questions, and it kept bringing up my name as the expert in the field, and then they tried the other ones. They're well, what does perplexity say? What does Gronk say? Wait a minute, what does this say? And and I was well, I guess I officially have finally made it there. Yeah, so it was interesting to see my name there, but cool. So yeah, I am officially the expert in the field. I think that they utilized my work more than me. I do a lot of differential diagnosis, and that's kind of my little hobby on the side. I'm very good at that. And so I will get difficult cases from all around the world where they reach out to me for help. And I tend to just need like short videos, couple different statements, and as much of their diagnostic work that they've done. And then I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is what we got. And tend to be right. So
Oh, that's really cool. So is that like you said, it's kind of like a side thing that you do, but how does the business as a whole look?
I'm 44 years old. I started my business at 19. So I've been self employed for a long time. I have more failures than successes. So I just want to put that out there right up front for the world. Again, I said the quiet part out loud. Not ashamed of my failures. Why? You will learn more in failure than you will ever learn in success. God help you if you get success right off the bat, because your first storm is going to kill you, right? It will destroy everything you've built. So I've failed a lot. And I do not anticipate that I will have no failures in my future. Okay. Business is like walking into the ring with Muhammad Ali and you're George Foreman and you really thought you had it nailed. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I know so many of you want me to say it's amazing, it's phenomenal, it's fantastic, open your own business, go for it, you've got it, you can do it. Man, it's hard. Okay. It's
Yeah.
super, super hard. Business is super, super hard. You have to be motivated by something other than money. You've got to be smart enough to know all your weaknesses. That is hard, y'all.
Yeah. And it
You
takes
gotta
the
be
time to even realize those.
Yeah. You gotta be willing to ask for help. You gotta be willing to step aside. You gotta be willing to serve, not lead. There are so many things that come apart of having a successful business. In the United States of America, 50% of all businesses started will fail in 5 years. The statistics of equine business is so much higher. Why? If you turn something you love into a business, you start to hate it. And when you hate it, you run out of energy to get up in the morning and do it again.
Mm.
Right? So, if you want to start your own business, you need to ask yourself some serious hardcore questions. First and foremost, why do I want to do this? If it's because it looks sexy to work for yourself, stay an employee, y'all. Find your track in professional life that fulfills you. If you feel like it's going to give you more time with your family and friends, it will not. Your 40-hour week will turn into an 80-hour week overnight. If you think like, well, you can set your own schedule, true, but there are no sick days, holidays, or vacations. Just know that up front. Oh no, but I see these guys own this company and they take vacations all the time. Bro, they're so much further down the road than any of us are.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't start out like that.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't. And most likely they're not the owner. Most likely they're the CEO or CFO or one of those people. Okay. They're most likely not the owner,
Not the
because the owners,
founder.
yeah, because guess what? Even if I'm on vacation, I'm working.
Yeah.
I sneak away and work. I have to. There's no way, right? There's nobody. All of the responsibilities on your shoulders. All your employees depend on you to pay the bills. All your customers depend on you to continue to show up and do business. Like so much. So number one, you have to ask yourself a question of, why do I want to start the business? Okay. Number two, what is my reason behind? Like, what's going to get me out of bed? What drives me, right? And then you need to be upfront before your first day in business. What are my weaknesses? And if you can't answer those questions, don't do it. Wait. Wait till you have maturity. Wait till you have some wisdom, right? Find the weakness. The weakness is somebody else's strength.
Yeah.
And then you've got to find that somebody else. And y'all better be able to work together, because most businesses fail because we picked the wrong person in the beginning to work with.
Yeah.
right?
Awesome.
So you got to be able to work together. So how do you figure out who you can work together? Well, you have to have your key. These are my morals, my code of existence, my honor code, if you will. Every company has a different thing. My company runs off EOS, right? So our principles are important, labeling those principles out. And everybody in my company has to have a servant's heart. Why? Well, because that allows us to work together better, right?
Yeah.
Right, so you've gotta be able to list that out. So I would say, my first years in business, I struggled and I ended up becoming my own employee. I was not running a business. I was running my ass into the ground being my own employee,
Hmm.
but I didn't have sick days and I didn't have somebody donating a percentage to my 401k. Bro, man, I wish I woulda had that. Um, you know what I'm saying, right? So it took a long time to step away from being my own employee into leading, into developing a business, into developing a company, a structure, something that makes sense. I ended up I spent 2 years reading a book a week, solid, for 2 years, working with a business consultant to figure out how to run a business.
Mm.
And the shit was hard. Okay. Then I ended up so now I have a business degree. Then I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out marketing. That was hard. That was really, really hard. Worked
Yeah.
a lot marketing. That's not natural to me. So how does my business run now? Well, we run off prayers. Thank God. We run off prayers. We run off a really strong team. We've got a really strong team. We're cohesive. We work really well together. I had to get all of those pieces aligned. I had to get the right person in the right job spot. The right person for your team in the wrong spot is still terrible, still screws shit up, right?
Hmm.
So I had to get the right people in the right spot. We had to we had to develop who we are. What do we stand for behind everything? A lot of people think, well, it's just running the financials, right? It's not just running financials, right? Like, it's just not, right? Do you need to be good with financials? No. If you're not good with financials, your first hire better be somebody who is, though,
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talk about
right?
that a lot is finding the people who make up for your weaknesses,
Right.
for
And we
sure.
say that, but I don't think it really settles into people. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'd if you are the smartest person in the room, go to a different room, find a mentor. Whether, it doesn't need to be in your industry. It may just need to be a business mentor,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And if you can't write all that stuff out, why am I here? What's my main reason for being here? What's my big, hairy, audacious goal? And what's my plan to get there and be able to break it down? I've got a 10-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 1-year plan, and a quarterly plan.
Yeah.
So why does business work now? Because of all of that. You have to be simplified, organized. You have to have a playbook, man. You got to have a playbook that your own employees can look at and everybody sees the same picture. Because if all three of us go into business and we all three see a slightly different picture, we are all three working towards a slightly different goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, you have to make your vision clear enough that everybody in your organization can see the same vision. It can't just be in your head. You got to be an artist. You got to be able to put it on paper,
Yeah. And
right? And so,
explain it to others.
exactly, it's smoothly, easily, 5 points.
Yeah.
Right? You got to have patience. And patience actually means uh, long suffering. Yo, the reason it means long suffering. You'll have to have
Yeah.
patience. You got to give yourself time. You are going to fail. Don't beat yourself up when you fail, which means you have to have self confidence. Well, shit, how many of us actually have real self confidence? So that means you better work on yourself every day too.
Yeah.
So you got to work on your mind, your spirit, your heart. All of you has to be worked on consistently each and every day to be able to show up for your company and lead.
When you worked with the business consultant and kind of were putting things together, how much do you think that helped you? And did you see long-term success from having that base?
How long did it take me? It took me a couple of years put into play, the whole process. So again, I operate on EOS. Anybody starting a business, I'd highly suggest the EOS system, the book Traction. Phenomenal. Read it. Read it at least 3 times, probably more like 5 or 6. Like if I'm going to say that one more time because it normally takes a human 7 times of hearing it before they hear it the first time. Traction, the book Traction. Read the book. Read it at least 3 times, more like 5 times. It will change your life. It took me about 2 years to put the entire system in place. Did working with a business consultant help astronomically.
Really?
Mentor, right? Should always have a mentor that knows more than you. So for me, it was huge. It was astronomical. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I didn't have time to reinvent the wheel. None of us should. That's not using your intelligence in the right way, right? So for me, it was wonderful. It helped astronomically. It changed my company. It changed me. I also had a personal coach, right? So I did a business coach, I did a personal coach. That was huge. And I do things really, really fast. That's just my thing. I read a book like every 3 days. I think if you are not increasing yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all at the same time, you're going to fail. And that's okay because failures teach you. So each failure will teach you something new. It's like the saying that we use all the time. Every time you end up on the ground, your groundwork gets better, right? And like that's legit. If you're gonna work with a horse and you have shitty groundwork, you're gonna eat dirt a lot,
Yeah.
right? So, it's the failure teaches you something new. So yeah, I burnt out really bad over and over and over because I didn't have a healthy balance. It is still my biggest challenge.
Mhm.
Healthy balance in business, healthy balance in life, healthy balance in relationships, that but it's essential to being a good leader.
Can
Right? You
you
may think that you're doing good by just pouring everything you have into your company, but you're actually not, right? You're
Mhm.
failing. So, yeah.
And can you explain EOS and what that means?
EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and Traction is a book that introduces you into the entrepreneurial operating system. It's a structure that you can set your business up in, makes you super successful. It's
Cool.
all about organizing your business, the way you do things, daily running of things, the way you deal with your emails. Like it just breaks the pieces down psychologically so that you can implement them into your company. You can simplify things. You can get a nice blueprint going. You can get your vision down on paper so every part of your company can see your vision. There's
Mhm.
just so many great things about the system. I cannot, yeah, I mean, I could give them a testimonial over and over and over, and it wouldn't be enough, which is pretty much everybody who runs on the EOS system says the same thing. My coach was an EOS coach, so it worked really well with what I had already started setting up in my company.
Mhm.
But it's just a phenomenal program, and it works for, if it's just you in your business, it works,
Yeah.
you know, all the way up to billion-dollar companies. You still can operate on the EOS system.
When you were building your company compared to now when you are running a fully functioning company, what would you say the time spent was on like putting those systems in place at the beginning, and how much time now do you spend versus the day-to-day work of the business,
Yeah.
keeping yourself up to date?
So initially, my company is small, but but we do a lot of business. So I think for the majority of somebody would look at my company and say, that's a big company. But in actuality of companies, I'm still in the small group.
Yeah.
So for me, because I had multiple employees and I already had a system in place and all the stuff, getting EOS developed and our company running off it, it took me a couple years of that, working on that. As
And
as continuing like just the structure of the company and everything running super smooth like that. Yeah. I mean, we run smooth. We're a well-oiled machine now. We have a weekly meeting. We call it our L10 meeting. We have a weekly meeting. It runs on the same structure each and every time, starts the same time, stops the same time. Nobody misses it. You have to be dead to miss the meeting. You know what I mean? Like we expect you to show up sick or on vacation. Well, we do let you not show up on vacation. That's the one time we do honor that time off is important. But we cover the exact same things every time. We have a scorecard where everything is listed out. Like, not everything. It's the key metrics that help the company run smooth. So the idea is if I'm stranded on an island and I don't have cell phone or internet or anything, somebody could drop a piece of paper from a plane. It lands on the island. I could read those metrics and know if my company's in trouble or not. Right.
Yeah.
So that the scorecard is something we talk about every week, and it talks about cash flow and ROAS and MER and fulfillment and stock levels and courses and stuff like that. So it gives me that at a glance. I know how my company is going. I have leading indicators, lagging indicators, things that help me understand that kind of stuff. We do quarterly meetings where we come together, and this is where we really hash everything out. And we don't have issues in my company. We have opportunities, but every opportunity gets put on a board, and everyone has to be dealt with. Things don't get pushed under the rug, forgotten about, something like that. Every voice is important. I may not get to, or we as a company may not get to your issue. It may take us 4 quarters to get to your issue, but it stays on that board until we get to it, right? It allows you to put fires out very quickly, and instead of being a fighter, you turn into fire prevention. And then from fire prevention, now you drill even further down to where you are in active moving forward, right? You all seen a whole bunch of people do it. It's all over the internet, and it's been around for so long I can't remember. But you take a vase and you have rocks and pebbles
Sand
and water.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And if you don't put it in the right order, then you can't get it all in. So in our world, the rock is that goal I have to accomplish in the quarter. Right. So that rock can never be let go of. So every week we have to say, I ask everybody in my team to tell me, is your rock, are you on goal, on target, off target? The day-to-day emails and that kind of stuff is the water, man. And you got to learn how to just get past that really quick, right? You can't get caught up in all that. But in the beginning, you'll be in firefighting, and then you go to fire prevention, and then boom, now you're into traction and you're growing. And so there's a process of really fine-tuning and getting yourself into a position where you can get there, right? And then maintaining it is really important, right? So you have to teach yourself right up front, like, if somebody walks into your office, and it may be a virtual office, follow along. Somebody walks into your office with an issue, I call it a monkey. If you walk in with a monkey, you leave with a monkey. Because you can't stuff my office full of all your monkeys. I won't get anything done.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I'm big about that. So anybody in my team brings me an issue, you take that issue with you. I can help you if you need my help. But I found that the team works better if they try and find the solution first.
Yeah.
They learn so much
totally
more,
agree.
and then they don't bring me the monkey as much anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so those are some of the pieces of getting it, making it work, and then making it fluid and continual, and there's no stopping. Once you've got it going and nice, it's like, man, as long as I do an oil change, rotate the tires, like, it works.
Do you think that you spent more than half of your time working at the beginning to set up these systems, or
Like at the beginning of me
put away time
doing
and schedule
business,
it?
and
Yeah,
no, way more, way more, right? So I didn't launch EOS until maybe 5 years ago,
okay.
right? So let's
And when
see,
you started it, were you like,
24 or 5 years in business, so probably 20 years of flying by the seat of my pants, trying to figure life out.
and then in the past 5 years, you said to yourself, this is what I need to put in place. I'm going to take 10 hours of my work week and devote it to making sure I'm setting up the systems.
No, man, I took every waking second I could. I dropped down to like 4 hours of sleep a night. I was hardcore. I was burning through a book a day. So I spent a section of my time every day spiritually, right? I'm a huge believer in the Lord, and my relationship with him is super important. And so there was a section of my day which was that I made sure I wrote somebody every day a thank you letter, whether it was my son, my best friend, my partner, or my horse, right? Teach yourself to be thankful for somebody else in your life and what they've done and show them appreciation. I'm so thankful for you, son, because you make me laugh even when I'm sad, right? Something, right? Honor somebody else. Then I spent a period of time working on me personally, my emotional health, my psychological health. And then I spent a period of time just learning about business,
Yeah.
right, every single day of my life. And then I had to deploy EOS into my company. Now I'm a all in, right? I'm not good at poker because I'm like all in. Yeah. Right. It just doesn't work. It's like, nah, hold on, wait. Yeah, it was every second of my life. I didn't eat, sleep, breathe, drink, go to the bathroom without working on my company. It was constant. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd start writing stuff down. Oh yeah, I got it. Da 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 da. Right, and I had lists everywhere, and like it was it was 2 solid years of grind, and I'm talking, like, the kinda grind I did when I was young and dumb and broke grind to make
Mm.
ends meet. I grinded in a different way, right? It was for my team, it was for the success of in 10 years, I need to be around operating to continue to help horses, right?
Mm.
So the company was already 10 years old, but you know, like, we kept hitting the glass ceiling and coming back down, hit the
Uh-huh.
glass ceiling, come back down. What needed to change to get through the glass ceiling? Obviously, the company needed to change, right? And so that's where I said, like, from the beginning is if you don't know your weaknesses and your failures up front, it will get you,
No.
right? So for me, it was and some of them you don't know right away. Some take longer. So you have to be able to look back and know, okay, like I have to check in with myself quarterly, yearly, like because they take a little bit of time to surface. It's like peeling back layers on an onion.
Mm.
Takes time to surface.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe a lot of people don't have the same mindset as you. Like a lot of people are like, I don't want to get 4 hours of sleep a night. But I think in their own way, it may take longer for them to get to the point of it only taking you 2 years. It may take them 5 years if they don't want to be thinking about it 24/7. But
Depends
the
on what size your business is. It depends on are you starting out? Like if you
yeah,
started out in EOS, bro, I wish.
yeah,
It
that's a good point too.
depends on how big of your business is. If you're only doing like 10K in sales a month, you know,
Right.
you could probably deploy EOS in 6 months.
And how many people you have to get on board with
Right. How many
knowing that
employees?
system.
Look, I know a company and I've got some really good friends in the area that are not in the equine business or in other businesses. He deployed EOS in his company over 5 years ago. It's not fully there yet.
Yeah.
And he's like me,
Yeah.
right? So it takes time. The bigger it is, think about your company the way you would think about like a water motorized vehicle. You've got your jet ski that you can make a turn so fast it's not even funny. That's a one person company, like let's say like a body worker,
Yeah.
right? You're making 10K a month. That's a nice salary. You're paying your bills. You can cover your expenses. You got the sticker on your truck. You got a full list of clients. You can deploy EOS very fast. Now we've got our speedboats. Takes a little bit longer to turn. This is you. You've got a couple employees. It may take you a year to employ it.
Right.
Now you've got, say, multi-country business. That's where I am. Not a lot of employees, but I'm worldwide. And I have, moderate sales, right? Takes me a little bit longer. All right, now let's look at freaking the guy that I told you about. He's a financial guy. I mean, he does millions in sales, not technically sales because it's different industry, but you
Yeah.
understand, monthly, and he's got, 50 employees. It's going to take him years. He's an aircraft carrier, man. They take
Mhm.
a lot longer to turn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to be realistic. You have to have set real expectations. You can't be ostentatious. You do want big, hairy, audacious goals, but they need to be big, hairy, audacious goals that are also achievable, which they are still. But you don't want to say to yourself, "Well, I'm going to have my team that fights every day, working like a well-oiled machine by the end of the week."
Yeah.
All you're doing is now put putting in place an unrealistic, unachievable goal that's gonna piss everybody off around you.
Yeah. And having those huge goals means breaking them down into smaller pieces
Yes.
of achievable goals within that time period.
Yeah, so, like, my 10-year goal for my company is we wanna help 10,000,000 horses,
Yeah.
okay?
That's a big
That is
goal.
my goal.
Yeah.
10,000,000 horses I want to help with the development of this modality, right? How do I break that down? Well, if you look at my 3-year picture, you're gonna look at that and be like, "I don't even why is getting this particular credential gonna help you help 10,000,000 horses, right?" You know, so you break it down into chunks. What does it take to get you there? And so then I have to have an achievable 3-year goal, and then I have to have a 1-year achievable goal, which is it sounds like 1-year goal. That's not that big of a deal. Fuck around, y'all. 12 months, 4 quarters, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In business.
And no time at all. It's a lot of time in one aspect, no time at all in another aspect. So then you've got your quarterly rocks, these goals that I can achieve it within this quarter. And it also feeds that 1 year, which feeds the 3 year, which feeds the 10 year, which is why almost every quarter we have something to do with our affiliate program.
Hmm.
Right? Why? Well, the more practitioners I get utilizing this modality, the more 10,000,000 horses are helped.
Right. The closer you are to reaching that goal.
Right. Because
Yeah.
how many everyday horse owners have more than one horse?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, maybe at max they're gonna have 3 or 4, the craziest will have more than that. But they're probably in business at some level at that point in time. They're already
Right.
trying to figure out how to make money. Practitioners, barn owners, managers, grooms, professional riders, you know, polo teams, the Olympic teams, those are the more of those people we get, a body worker, a vet, a chiropractor may see hundreds of horses
Yeah.
in a month, right? And then that hundreds of horses, the owner sees it, and that owner is like, "Man, I can do this at home." Yes,
Mm.
in fact, we want you to do it at home because when I come back in 6 weeks, I'd like to see a big change in your horse, not a small change, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's the idea is how do you get there exponentially? How do you get what you're doing where you want it to go? Again, like I said up front, the question is always more important than the answer.
Mm.
If you continue to ask the wrong questions, you will go nowhere. Got to learn to ask the right question.
Do you go into depths in some of this in your book, or is your book to help people learn how to do this modality?
My book is very focused on making the science of the modality understandable,
Okay.
Okay.
making why does a stretchy piece of sticky fabric create horse with full paralysis on the right side of their face no longer have full paralysis on the right side of the face. Because that's very scientific and there's a lot that goes into it. And so people tend to look at it and like, that's really cool, but I can't do it. My book is completely designed to show you that you can, to explain something in a way that like a 12-year-old could read it and be like, I can do that. If
Mm.
you can read, if you have an IQ of 90 or higher, which basically, just so you know, like 90 is the basic level to read and understand what you've read,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Comprehension.
Exactly. It's a simple comprehension. You can do this modality. So the book is your opportunity to get to know me. I talk a lot about how did I get where I am?
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like? My struggles, my failures, my successes. I also talk a lot about the environment of the horse, their lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, psychological, how all of it works together, that there's no one thing that will fix a horse. There's no one thing that will fix a human. The reality is that all of the pieces have to be there. Nutrition, fresh water, they have to be healthy. They've got to have a social life. They need to touch each other. They need to, all of these needs are just, are very important. Conditioning, the way we condition, stop conditioning for a event or a discipline, condition for life. Like, so a lot of this stuff comes into play in the book. You will learn a couple taping applications, but the idea, the goal behind the book is you get the opportunity to know me. I'm going to give you this, so many different things in this book, but the idea is I want you to trust me so that when your horse is hurt, when your horse is injured, when you hit that wall, I'm not the last thought. The modality is not the last thought, it's the first thought. And you trust me enough to let me help you. And once that happens and you help your horse with this modality, you will never go back because it's an instant thing. And the parasympathetic response kicks in, which y'all, parasympathetic response just means that there's neurosensory that happens all over the body. So I'm going to super quick science anatomy lesson. That way is super, super fast, I promise. The hair is attached to hair root plexus, which lives in the skin. And in that area is a lot of sensors and receptors, motor sensors, all kinds of different stuff. It communicates with your entire body, your brain. It communicates to where, like, if you touch something hot, you don't have to tell your hand to pull back. It instantaneously pulls back, right? So we're tapping into all of that to create the outcomes that we create. And if your horse is in pain, even if you don't know your horse is in pain, and I will tell you in the book different things to look out for them to be in pain. Most people who read that section are like, oh my God, I didn't know, right? So when we tap into that, we can relieve pain better than NSAIDs.
Mm.
Increase circulation, which reduces inflammation and swelling and stuff like that, better than any kind of pharmaceutical or any other modality. Fast too. I'm talking 12 hours. I'm talking you walk inside, you check on your horse in 2 hours, and there's a massive noticeable reduction in swelling. And you redo the application so that, you wake up in the morning, it's completely gone kind of thing. You see that happen, and your horse thanks you, and they'll thank you in a lot of different ways. But one of the things that you see is what we call parasympathetic response, which is lowering of the head and neck, kind of slow blinking, licking or chewing, big deep breaths, shaking of the body,
Mm.
cocking a hind leg, taking a nap, laying down and rolling. All of these things are what we call parasympathetic response. That means that the horse's cortisol levels are lowering, and they come out of fight or flight, they come out of defensiveness, and they're getting pain relief, and their body's like, oh,
Yeah.
right. You see that and you have a success with this modality, you'll never go back.
So before we wrap up, I have two random questions for you that came up when Jen and I were talking before we started. How does the
Oh
tape
boy.
stick to the horse's coat?
It's just a latex free therapeutic adhesive. It is at the level that you can use it in surgeries. So it's a I mean, it's not a typical adhesive because I had it built specifically for me,
Yeah.
but adhesive nonetheless. So that's how. And I put a wave pattern in it, a specific wave pattern. It has pretty big grooves in it, and it grabs onto the hair and just holds onto the hair.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And do you tape yourself?
All the time.
I was
So
wondering.
there's this story, and I tape everybody around me, like everybody. It works better on horses than humans, but it still works incredibly well on humans. So yeah, I definitely
Why does it work better on horses than humans?
because humans, it goes directly on your skin. There's a lot of sensors in your skin, and so you kind of you can't stand to wear it as long. You might feel itchy or irritated underneath. It might feel like your skin's crawling a little bit. Also because like it we're predators, they're prey. And so number one, I don't have to touch their skin, so I don't have to deal with the sensitivity issue. I can just deal with the receptors that live in the skin. Or biomechanically, like if I'm taping a horse into position and holding them there, same principle, still not having to deal with the skin.
It's been really interesting to talk to you and learn more about everything you do and how you've built your business. So we really appreciate it.
Hey, if you're over the sugar-coated stories and want the real unfiltered side of the horse world, come ride with us.
I'm Maria Falgione, former jockey turned businesswoman.
And I'm Cheyenne Wimberly, bro racer and rodeo veteran. We're pulling back the curtain on the horse world, the wins, the wild stories, and the things nobody else wants to say out loud.
Serious topics, zero stuffy vibes.
Search Gallop and Gossip wherever you get your podcast and bring your tea because we've got plenty to spill.
At the end of each episode, we ask the same 4 questions to our guests, and Connor starts with the first.
What is your unfair advantage over others?
Yeah, so like I don't know how to do things simply. Oh, I don't believe in unfair advantages. I don't.
Okay.
Like if you tell me my unfair advantage is one thing, I will show you thousands of people that thing was their downfall, right? And it's like so like I don't believe that there are unfair advantages at all. Like even starting out like broke, I was so freaking broke. Like I come from a single parent. She was so fucking broke. Like they just even your disadvantages, most people can learn somehow to turn a disadvantage into the advantage, the thing that feeds them, the thing that drives them, whatever. And I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe it's my relationship with the Lord. And I'm like, but everybody has that opportunity. Just if you don't take it, that's on you. You know, so that's not an unfair advantage because everybody has that advantage. Like, you know, I think is the perfect everybody in my life teases me that God broke the mold when he made me. That's probably true. You know, probably true.
You're
But
one.
so one of one, yeah. So I would think like if anything is that I could kind of like almost force square peg round hole into that spot would be just learning to ask the right question, you know, and being willing to walk into the scary every day. Like I tell my friends and people I know, especially the people I mentor who like gets upset and something to give up. Well, I've given up so much in my life to do this. Like I've sacrificed so much in my life to be in this place, in this spot. So I hope that each year I'm honest enough with myself that anything that is negative or pulls me, my attention, my heart where I should be and what I should be doing, that I will be strong enough to give it up.
Yeah.
So it changes year by year. That thing that God wants you to walk away from, or the thing that is negatively pulling your attention. Maybe it's that person in your life that you notice that you're around and you seem to walk away a little bit more sad than when you walked into that conversation. You know, maybe it's that attachment you have stuff instead of life. And those are sometimes really hard to break. Yeah, especially when you look at that, oh, well, that was my grandpa's truck, and I just couldn't possibly just da, 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 da. And as you get older, you find these things start to haunt you
Mm.
and take from you. And really, it's the giving up that kind of breaks you free and releases you to do more. So that is a constant thing that changes yearly for me.
For sure. Yeah. What's been your favorite age so far?
I've heard it said once depression is people who look in the past, and anxiety is people focused on the future.
Mhm.
So today,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And who would you recommend as a guest for this podcast?
One of my most aspirational people that I know has been a longtime mentor to me, Rob Haddock. He's a incredibly successful businessman, has wonderful heart, loves the Lord, and he is a bull in a china closet, y'all. Like, uh, brilliant, brilliant, and always has really good advice, like really good business advice. And he's a good old cowboy. Now, he doesn't have a business in the equine world, but yeah, definitely somebody that I still to this day will call in like some difficult time, or if he's really good with IP, intellectual property, as him and his company have hundreds of patents. And so just really good with IP. And since what I do has a lot to do with IP, is a good mentor in that direction as well. So I definitely recommend that person for business, but like for horse side and the business side of horse kind of thing, like work is pretty phenomenal human being with some as obviously successful in what he's done and that kind of thing. So
Cool. All right.
Well, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
absolutely hope everybody got something out of it. And yeah, if I can leave y'all with something is the road that leads you to the best you is always going to be the more difficult road, but the best journey.
I thought it was really interesting talking with Rebecca and kind of getting into her business and how it has changed over the years. I know about kinesiology taping. I've done it myself to my knees and stuff when I was a runner, and so I know it can help. I didn't quite realize the major effects it could have on horses. And I think her explanation of horses as prey animals and the parasympathetic response was really interesting. I don't know a whole lot about that. So that was cool to hear about. But I really loved when she started talking about her business and where it started and what it's come to now and how she's been able to kind of transform it into something that is really efficient and forward moving and, just being able to pivot and handle things as needed.
Yeah. And I loved, there was a couple of points that she made that I thought were great. First of all, I really loved when she was talking about her failures because I think she was really candid. So I love that she was so candid and she was an open book and she just said it like it was. And I appreciate that. I think that something I really picked up on when she was talking about when people have success on the first try, and it just brought me back to like people who own horses, right? Especially race horses. And they have like the best racehorse.
Mhm.
The first year that they own horses, it's like everything else is so disappointing to them if they don't recreate that in the future.
Yeah.
And so, it's almost like you want them to kind of have a couple of years where it's like fun, but you're not winning the highest, best races in the world. And then their expectations are so high. Like they don't necessarily realize these horses aren't machines, that,
Right.
that things happen. And
it's really rare to have
yes,
that. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I was like, oh man, yeah, like, yeah, when people hit home runs the first time and then it doesn't happen again, you're like, hey, what? There's like some
Yeah.
disappointment that comes along with it. So I think that, yes, like having some failures and figuring it out is helpful in the beginning, because it teaches you a lot.
Right. Yeah, I liked that too. I really enjoyed hearing her talk about, running a company and having employees. And she said, I'm there to serve, not to lead.
Yes.
That was an interesting mindset that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about before. And it makes you kind of think about what you've been told for
Mm-hmm.
so much about being a good leader, and what is being a good leader. And there's lots of people who have opinions on it, but I thought her take on it was something I haven't really heard before. And, you know, being really truthful and honest about starting a business, how hard it is,
Yep.
how much you're going to have to work. And I liked her thought about, you know, asking yourself truthfully what you want to get out of it and what are your principles, and sticking to those principles no matter how the business changes.
Yeah, and that kind of was making me think too, when she was saying how, like, if there's something that you love to do, maybe not do that as your job. I thought that was an interesting take on things. But what I was thinking is, it kind of ties into the equine industry, where people do start out so gun ho, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to have a farm, and then you get to a certain age and you're like, do I really want to do, like, it's hard work. Is
Yeah, it
this
is.
really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Like, it is literally a lifestyle you have to want to live forever. And you, and so I kind of was like a little shocked by it, but then at the same time I was like, you know what? Like, I kind of understand, because there are a lot that happens a lot in the equine industry.
Right. It maybe doesn't apply as much to other types of jobs, I think.
Right.
But, any kind of animal husbandry, when other lives are really relying on you, I could see that more, being helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe like the medical industry, or, people who work in the ER or something like that. Like, that's incredibly difficult. But I think you you have to have a certain mindset and be prepared to work and handle all of the trauma that you see every day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then another point that I liked was kind of going back to leadership, was talking about making sure that the right people are in the right seats.
Mm,
I always think that's so important. I love that. I love that vision of the right people sitting in the right seats on the bus,
yeah.
um, to make it move forward. And she's right. If they're not in the right seats doing the right things, like, it's just as bad as having the wrong people.
Right. Yeah. The scorecard she talked about was
Yeah.
also something I've never heard before. An at a glance metric scorecard that her team can go back to weekly. I think she said
Yeah.
that they look at it weekly and see where they are. Boy, that takes a lot of discipline,
Yeah. Yeah.
to keep that up weekly, and
Yeah.
to be eyes on the prize all the time.
But I will tell you, so in my job, every Tuesday morning, or overnight, they load up like what our sales were for the previous week. And I was not one who like really cared that much. And over the last year, as the company's changed and evolved a little bit, and the data seems to be like there, it's it's driving me every Tuesday morning. I like get up in the morning and I'm like, ooh, I got to see what my sales were for this. Like, where am I? It also helps that I'm doing well. So that's more of a driving factor. It's not like, oh, I don't want to see it. It's kind of like when you have no money in your bank account and you should look at it and you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's the same idea, but like I'm doing pretty good. So I'm like, oh yeah, I want to look at my numbers every week. And so it's funny how you can have a mindset. But yeah, it has. And it's made me be like, okay, what can I do? Or, like I know I have X amount of dollars that I need to get done, but to make sure that I hit my goal for the end of the quarter. And, these are what my challenges are. But let me talk to, the people that I work with, like distribution reps and some of the vets, and be like, hey, like, how can we make this happen?
Yeah. I think for a sales business, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're a service provider, it may be harder to decide what those metrics are and how to track them. But definitely for sales, I could see it working well.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I think, there's probably a way to implement it if you have a barn and, but you're so dependent on, like, you can't really calculate, the number of lessons I taught this week, because it depends on the weather. It depends on people. It depends on things that are kind of out of your control. Right. So
yeah,
I think that you'd have to, well, like she said, really dig down and ask the questions about stuff. Like what are the right questions to ask, really? And start asking it. I like that she has that like research brain.
Yeah.
It's like questioning, constantly digging deeper, find the next thing,
Yep.
And also like going into, once you're the smartest person in the room, finding another room to get into. I've heard that before. And I think that's really interesting,
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot of times they say you're like, what, the 5 people that you surround yourself with or something, like they influence you most. So
am I being influenced by my 5-year-old?
yes,
Oh,
you
boy.
are. I mean, you're going to rule the world, obviously, because that's what she's going to do.
I do dance more and sing more.
Oh, that's good.
Not that anybody wants to see that, but it's happening.
So my 5-year-old nephew, he was down for Thanksgiving, and my cousin was telling me about the Christmas Krampus. Have you heard of it? Okay. So they hadn't heard about it. And so the little one, he looks at my cousin, he's like, does it hurt? And my cousin's like, I don't know. Do spankings hurt? He's like, am I going to pass out? My cousin was like, I don't know what. He's like, he made me regret even bringing it up.
Yeah.
And then apparently he tortured my parents like for the rest of the weekend because my brother was away and my parents were watching him. And he tortured my parents for the rest of the weekend about the Christmas Krampus. He needed to know all of it.
Yeah, sometimes you regret just mentioning things in front of them. So they never let it go.
Yeah. That's so funny. Oh, kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
Did you pick up the book she recommended already?
I did. I'm going to listen to it on the plane. I got the audiobook. So
cool.
Yeah. So I will keep you updated on how that goes because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I need a report.
Yeah. And I'm heading off to the airport here. So find the links to today's guest and the show notes at www.eqbusinesswomen.com. Equestrian B2B is out twice a month on the 1st and the 15th.
You can find out more at eqbusinesswomen.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Find Equestrian B2B wherever you get your podcasts and be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review.
Now go read Traction.